In one of the previous interviews, I have gotten a chance to expand on how difficult it may prove for some adult learners to get out of their comfort zone. And the inability to get out of their comfort zone often prevents them from achieving the improvement they wish for, as they can't get rid of counterproductive habits that slow down or actually impede their improvement. I have already explained how crucial it is to implement the right communication strategy so as to help learners overcome that obstacle. Today, though, I'll give a practical example of what it means. We often work with steel mills, and since steel making is nowadays a highly competitive industry, relying mostly on a foreign market, it is vital to be able to master English at a high level so as to negotiate as well as to handle quality issues and claims. Last year, I was entrusted with a one-to-one course at a big steel mill based in Lombardy. The learner involved was a lady purchasing manager with a solid legal background and steel-related technical knowledge, but whose English level was inadequate to live up to the challenges her role confronted her with. Luckily, there immediately were positive vibes between us, so she opened up straight away and was very honest in sharing with me her fears and frustrations. She told me she had tried many a time to improve, but it had never seemed to work. She couldn't understand why. She had always been successful at everything she had studied, but now she felt impotent and inadequate. We started talking, and I found out that, in an attempt to make up for her poor language skills, she had been relying on a list of sentences to use in given situations. Of course, it didn't work well, because even though the list enabled her to make the point, it didn't enable her to understand and handle the interlocutor's response. She was perfectly aware that such a strategy would never work. She was afraid of letting go of it because she felt out of her depths trying anything different. So I resorted to what I call the Boulder example. Well, I told her, look at yourself this way. There's a mountain, and this mountain is the English language. You have been tasked with taking this huge boulder to the top of that mountain. And so far, you have been trying, pushing it uphill using your arm's strength. It hasn't moved by an inch. And the reason why it hasn't moved is not because you're not strong enough, but because no one, not even the incredible Hulk himself, would ever succeed in taking that boulder to the top of the mountain that way. Now, what we need to do is looking around and seeing whether there's a hoist we can use instead. There is. We just need to climb the mountain to take that hoist to the top and from there lift the boulder. It's my job to guide you to the top of the mountain, not only by showing you where your feet should land next, but also why. This way you'll be able to climb the mountain again every time you need to, even without my help and guidance. The boulder example and the Sherpa metaphor struck her and have stuck with her since then. They earned me her trust, which has proved the key in helping her get out of her comfort zone and approach language learning differently. We have been working together for almost 1 year now, and her progress is perceptible. She hasn't reached the level she needs yet. It will necessarily take longer to get there. But now she's way more independent than she was back then. She doesn't rely on a script anymore, but manages to interact with interlocutors by making herself understood quite clearly. And she doesn't panic anymore when people address her in English. She has been developing her deductive skills and has overcome the snowball effect. I feel fulfilled on a professional level and happy on a human one to see her this self-confident, open-minded, and communicative when it comes to English. It's a joint success we're both very proud of.